Hello and welcome. The openSUSE Tumbleweed rolling distro traces its roots back to 1996's SUSE 4.2, which is when I started deploying it to Pentium laptops and desktops with great results. A quarter century ago. How time flies. Let's take a look at today's modern version. Again, Tumbleweed is the rolling release, which we are going to install and review. Let's boot up the install ISO on a virtual machine now. Booting up the ISO. Got boot from hard disk, installation, upgrade, and more. So under more, we've got rescue system, boot Linux system, and check the installation media. All right. Let's go to installation. And it's loading. Okay. Device detection is commencing, where it's loading the basic drivers. openSUSE has a very large driver database that it scans through and supports a lot of hardware. It's one of the strengths of openSUSE, in my view. Okay, now it's starting the installer. Initializing network configuration. Let that complete. Now it's updating the installer. Adding the repository, and there's our license agreement. So we got English, English US as the keyboard layout and language. Click Next. So it's probing the system. It's asking if you want to enable the online repositories. Let's activate. So it wants the main update repository, the main repository, the open software version, and the non-free version of the main repository. Okay, and it leaves sources and debug unchecked, which is fine. Let's click Next. So now it's adding the main repository, non-free, and the free one. And the main update repository. Cool. Let's initialize the installation. And we'd like a desktop with KDE Plasma. You can also select desktop with GNOME, desktop with XFCE, a generic desktop with a reduced package set, for further customization, a server for text mode only, a transactional server. It's like the server, but uses a read-only root file system to provide atomic automatic updates of a system without interfering with the running system. Kind of reminds me of Fedora Silverblue. Interesting. So we'll stick with KDE Plasma and click Next. And we've got a suggested partitioning. We've got only 2 gigabits for swap. Since I'm going to want to install it on a laptop, I'd like to change that a little bit. No LVM, no disk encryption, that's fine. Root will be BTRFS with enabled snapshots. Very good. We'd like a separate swap partition, and we'd like to enlarge to RAM size for suspend and hibernate for laptops. If you got a desktop, I wouldn't bother. Click Next. So we've got GPT partition table on the VDA disk, VDA1 partition for boot EFI with VFAT formatting. We've got the root file system formatted with BTRFS. And we've got the third partition for swap, which is close to the RAM size, which is what we want for hibernation, as I said. We've got 9 subvolume actions, so it builds the root subvolume, the var subvolume, the /user/local subvolume, the /srv subvolume or serve, /root subvolume, the /opt subvolume, the /home subvolume, separate subvolume for /home, and 2 /boot grub subvolumes for 64 and 32-bit PCs. Okay, I guess they have everything covered. Looks good to me, so let's click Next. So now we're synchronizing with a network time protocol server. Our time zone is US Pacific, Los Angeles. Yeah, looks good. Time is good, so let's click Next. Username will be Steven. I'll enter my password once, enter my password twice. We'll use the same for the sysadmin stuff. Automatic login is checked here for default. That's interesting. It's an interesting choice. So I'll uncheck that. And we'll click Next. So now we've got a summary. So far, we've got a bootloader type of EFI. Secure boot is enabled. And we've got the following software patterns already selected. Let's select some more patterns. So as you can see here, we've got a bunch of graphical environments to choose from GNOME, XFCE, Cinnamon, LXDE, LXQT, openSUSE Sway flavor. Very interesting. I'll probably look at that sometime. Sway with a regular, Enlightenment, Mate, etc. So we want to include the graphics for digital photos and graphics. We also want to select the KVM host server. That's for virtual machine management. We also want KDE frameworks and development, which pulls in base and C and C++. We also want the Linux kernel headers for development, as well as Python 3 and web development, tools and libraries. We'll also want the KVM virtualization host selected. Also want console tools, very useful. Also has 32-bit runtime environment, maybe for Steam. Mobile pattern for laptops, I'll check that. And we've got the documentation here, that's already checked. Looks like everything is good. So we'll click Next and review the whole bunch of patterns that we've selected to install. Those look good. 7.7 gigabytes to install. And we will boot to the graphical mode. That's good. Got the system and hardware settings if you want to change those here. CPU mitigations are automatic depending on the CPU that we have, which is Intel in our case. Firewall will be enabled. That's good. We want to enable secure shell, so let me enable that. Also open the port. I'm behind a very good firewall, so it's okay if I open the port. You guys have to make that decision yourselves. We've got different security policies in place. The defaults look good. Network configuration, those defaults look good. It's using Network Manager. And we used the bridge configuration that I set up for this KVM earlier that it detected. Let's go ahead and confirm the installation. Go back and check the settings if we're unsure. I don't think we are. Default is back. That's good, but we'll click Install now. And it's starting the installation. And so this will go through the patterns and download all the packages based on the patterns we selected earlier, and then automatically reboot. And here we are. We're booting into our freshly installed system, openSUSE Tumbleweed. So let's fire it up. There's our SDDM display manager. Let's log in to KDE Plasma. This is the rolling release. I expect to see pretty much the latest versions of the software for everything, including KDE. All right, we've got networking. Ahoy, this is openSUSE. Let's fix the display resolution by clicking on display configuration. And let's make this 1920 by 1080 and click apply. All right. That looks good. Let's go to all settings and appearance. I like to have a dark mode selected, so Breeze Dark. Easier on my eyes. Let's make this better for your eyes by increasing all of the font sizes. Let's make it 14 everywhere. Click OK and apply. That's a lot better, a lot more legible. All right. So we've got a README here, extra software, proprietary software drivers, and packages. So it tells you where to get those, including NVIDIA. Also, how to install Google Chrome. That's nice. Codecs, and also take a look at community repositories if you want. We won't do this in this video. Keep things a little bit short. Let's launch console and make it a little bigger. And let's check the kernel version. We've got 5.13.6, which was compiled on July 29th, a few days ago. We have 671 megabytes of RAM used and no swap. That's very, very light. GCC version is 11.1.1, also from July last month, very recent version. Yes, very fresh versions of the software. Let's clear the screen and let's take a look at the file system table. We've got the various subvolumes here. As the installer showed earlier, this is what it has, including the snapshot subvolume and the boot EFI VFAT partition. Okay, cool. Nothing unusual here. Let's update, sudo zipper update. Let's enter the password for root. And it wants to install a package and remove a package, so we hit enter for yes. And so it's removed branding and installed new branding. So let's do this again. Okay, so it's up to date. Let's reboot after the update. And we're back to openSUSE Tumbleweed. Let's fire it up. And we're back to the SDDM and log in using our password. And let's wait for it to come up. And we're back. All right, we've got documentation, get software, Plasma help, contributes, and build openSUSE. So you can read up all about that. Let's go to the start menu and type YaST. YaST is yet another system tool, I believe it stands for. And it's the primary tool for managing a SUSE system. Has been for years and years and years. So we've got add-on products, media check, software management, install or remove software packages and manage software, software repositories. There we can configure what repositories we use. We've You can change the system keyboard layout here. We can configure printers. We can configure a scanner if we need to. We can configure our sound card or sound system here. Here we can configure our bootloader, set up our NTP, date and time, everything to do with clocks and time. Kernel kdump configuration tool is here, very useful. Here we can change the language and install additional languages. Here we got network settings. If we need to reconfigure, including host name, etc. Here's our disk partitioning tool. It's very good to have. And here's our service manager tool. Let's get into here and take a look at our services and how they're configured. Of course, we can use from a shell the systemctl utility to manage the services, but let's take a look and see what this graphical utility can offer. Okay, here we are. Let's go look at the status of libvirt daemon, which we need if we want to run KVM virtual machines. We need to have that daemon running, so there's libvirtd. It's set to manually start and it's inactive, so let's start it, set to start. And the start mode should be on boot. So there it is, on boot. And we'll make it active when we hit apply. So it gives a good summary. So it's activating and starting libvirtd. Apply all changes. Yes. So it writes the configuration. So let it reload. It's reading the services status. Okay. So that is set up. Let's see. We've also got the sysconfig editor. Change settings in etc sysconfigs configuration files. Okay, cool. You can set up a HTTP server. And assign host names and aliases to IP addresses. More NTP configuration for time. Proxy configuration. Remote VNC configuration. That's nice. Got a Samba server configuration here. And also Windows domain membership setup. It's very comprehensive so far. We've got AppArmor security configuration. Firewall configuration. Security Center is here for policies, etc. User and group management. Here we can create a virtual machine. Install hypervisor and tools. We already have KVM set up, but you can also install Zen here. You can also use this tool here, relocation, for migrating virtual machines. Here are release notes. Let's see what they say here. Yeah, this is a rolling release Tumbleweed, so no release notes for that. So that's not surprising. Let's close, and let's see, under miscellaneous, we have display the system logs. Cool. We've got packages, programs, alternatives, file system snapshots. That's for our BTRFS snapshots. We can check that here. First root file system is a single, another single for after installation, and the important flag is set to yes. 3 and 4 is pre and post for the zipper update. Important is no. 5 and 6 is pre and post for the YaST services manager that we just did with libvirtd. 7 and 8 is pre and post for us looking at the release notes. Interesting. We've got a 9, a pre snapshot for YaST Snapper, which we're running right now. Okay, so those are our existing snapshots. Systemd journal, you can check those if you like using this tool. And also if you have vendor driver from other sources, you can install using this tool. All right, let's close this. So that's YaST, basically, a breeze tour of yet another system tool. Let's open the console. And let's destroy this installation. Let's create a disaster by removing the etc directory. So it can't remove everything. The directory's not empty. Let's see. You've got LVM and systemd is remaining. So I just hosed, using this command, destroyed this installation. And you'll see why in a minute. So sudo reboot doesn't work because I no longer have a password database. So let's reset and restart and see if this boots. So we've got openSUSE Tumbleweed. And we got a failure. Black screen and a failure. Yes. So I just hosed our installation on purpose to demonstrate the Snapper rollback. Let's restart one more time to make sure it's truly dead. Let's see. Yep, it is dead. So let's do a disaster recovery using Snapper. So let's restart. And instead of advanced options or UEFI, let's start the bootloader from a read-only snapshot. So we've got, we're going back in time as we go down this list. We're going to earlier and earlier snapshots. We want to choose the asterisk default snapshot after installation. So that's what we want to boot from as read-only. So this is read-only. So they tell us to run Snapper rollback and reboot. Okay, so let's boot from snapshot number 2. All right, it allows us to log in again. Again, it's read-only, so we need to just check it to make sure it works, and that's the snapshot we want. Let's open the console. And let's take a look at the etc subdirectory, and all our files are back. All right. So let's make this read-write and make this the new default system state by typing sudo snapper rollback. Hit enter, enter our sudo password. Ambit is classic, so it creates a new read-only snapshot for future and creates the new read-write snapshot of the current subvolume, and sets the default to our current state. So let's sudo reboot and reboot into our freshly repaired system. So openSUSE Tumbleweed is the boot selection. Let it boot up. And there's SDDM. Let's type in our password. And we've just used Snapper to recover from our disaster. Let's check etc again. Yep, there it is. So we're back in business. So this is one example of doing disaster recovery. Very nice. Let's launch Firefox. And so we can search the openSUSE.org. We can also search the wiki. We can also search the mailing lists. Cool. And also the forums. All right, that's the home page, is the search page for openSUSE.org. Very handy. Let's go to the main home page. All right. The maker's choice for sysadmins, developers, and desktop users. So we've got Tumbleweed and Leap as well, which we're not reviewing today. In addition to Tumbleweed, which we just looked at, they also have a more stable Leap and a SUSE Linux Enterprise Server version. Even as a rolling release, with its attention to detail, Tumbleweed continues to garner high praise on DistroWatch reviews. I think it's easy to see why, and maybe you can too. Please comment, like, and subscribe to support more videos in the future. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of them. Until next time, take care.